Hello, hi. Can you hear me? Hello, miss. Can you hear me? Hi. Can you hear me?
Hello, yes.
So basically, how can I call you Miss Madam Puan? How?
Miss,
Alright. So, Miss. So, I think boleh ke saya cakap Malay je?
boleh campur lah.
Alright, thank you. So, how you today? You on at your workplace ataupun hari ni cuti?
I working afternoon.
I see. So, this session will take dalam 30 minit lah. So, basically
Okay.
this is one of consultation lah. So, macam mana Miss punya prescription dengan Contus Express Dah lama ke start?
What do you baru start.
I see. So, pernah prescribe any gym exercise ke ataupun buat apa-apa exercise sebelum ni?
Yeah, have like Pilates.
I see. So for how long have you try exercise dalam setahun lepas ke, 3 tahun lepas ke, the intention tu untuk exercise? Since when? Uh,
Mm,
Sejak bila Miss start exercise tu? Dalam setahun dua ke? Atau macam mana?
tak ingat.
I see.
uh, yeah. Usually I try to exercise
Alright.
like at least once a week, unless I'm sick lah, things like that.
Alright. So in terms of diet, ada try any diet before? Atau macam mana?
Uh, in terms of mm, do have very good appetite, so tak boleh dengar.
Sorry, dia macam lag sikit lah. Can you repeat?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have very good appetite,
Alright.
so I tak makan banyak. Actually, I do have a diagnosis of anxiety and depression.
Alright.
So yeah, so my appetite is quite affected lah. Uh, so I used to eat a lot of macam like drink a lot of sweet drinks because I get the sugar from it. But
Alright.
because also I tak suka makan, like I just didn't like to eat like like
Alright. So,
like I
okay.
yeah. But now I'm getting better, so I'm eating more regularly also. Yeah, what's that the question?
Alright. Okay. So, that's anxiety since when? Kalau saya boleh tahu, since when, doktor?
It,
Uh,
it's been about 10 years already.
oh, I see. So, in terms of medication, ada rely on medication or simply uh, consultation until now? How?
I see my doctor regularly. I'm also on daily meds. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So, have been around 10 years on meds.
Hmm.
Alright.
On meds about 7 years. 7 years.
I see. I see. So, you are Singaporean, right?
Hmm.
I see. I basically let me introduce myself first. Saya dietitian Amirul Akmal. Basically I'm Malaysian. But Contus Spread
Ah,
dia collabs with a Malaysian company dari idea. So
ah,
me as part of the company yang on that dietitian, registered dietitian, saya one part of them lah. So basically saya registered with Ministry of Malaysian punya ni lah, health. So uh, yes, I think let me introduce myself first lah. So basically saya pun have already in Singapore for several months before, because I'm together with a Chinese Indonesian PR1, the Singaporean PR in Sentosa Cove lah. So basically saya punya area banyak main dekat uh, Harbourfront, Chinatown. So that's my area lah. Amoy Street. So basically now saya back to Malaysia lah. So my experience at Singapore really nice lah. So even kalau saya jumpa Malay pun saya rasa macam, oh, saya lega saya boleh cakap Malay. Biasa kalau kita cakap dengan ada races, we will speak, right? So sometimes really hard lah. So saya jumpa Malay je, saya sangat appreciate that lah. So basically that's my itulah. Tapi kalau kat Singapore, I think most of the gym biasanya fitness what? Time fitness Fitness time. What? Anytime fitness. Tapi kalau macam Qantas saya tak perasan lagi. Tapi anytime fitness memang sangat banyak kan kat sana?
yes, yeah.
Alright, so basically that's my experience there. And yeah, have you been in Malaysia before? Johor?
Yes.
Alright, so basically what I see from my inside there, makanan Malay, Chinese and Indian, actually as long as we are southern east area region, basically sama je lah kan. So that's what I see lah. So later saya akan explain lah tentang cara pemakanan yang for me quite basic, but the most important part from my insight that I see, apa yang saya akan tunjukkan adalah pinggan suku-suku separuh tu lah. For me, even though people think that is basic one, but from my experience itu satu practical yang sangat mampu dilakukan dalam pelbagai situasi lah. So in any situation, for general population, the half kata-kata healthy plate itself sangat mudah untuk diamalkan, but still have great kebaikannya lah. So have you heard about that plate before? Quarter half kata-kata plate.
Yelah, macam time sekolah, right? I think like the half is the carb, and then quarter is protein, quarter is vegetable. Is it?
You have the idea there, but the thing is half should be the green veggies, but quarter carbs and the other protein. But from my side lah, kita selalu didendangkan dengan trendy diet like ketogenic diet or intermittent fasting, vegan. Have you heard that before? Hello? Lag ke ataupun macam mana? Saya repeat tak tadi? Okay.
Yes, please.
Basically, Miss, kita sering didendangkan dengan trendy diet kan, macam ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting, vegan. Have you heard that before?
Yes.
Alright. The thing is, ni correct kalau kita bercakap soal research, literature, yes, that thing memanglah betul, mereka ada satu manfaat yang signifikan, yang bagus. Kalau kita pergi kepada modern science atau medical doctor pun yang advanced critical thinking tu, diorang akan advise on that intermittent fasting, ketogenic diet. But the thing is, okay, me as a dietitian dengan previously my experience before as a police officer lah at Malaysia, tapi saya already resign. So basically, when I see we talk about healthy diet, kita ni general population tau. Walaupun kita ada ilmu sains yang sangat bagus sekalipun, kita ada human being yang mana ada masa certain kita at the top of our moral. Sometimes we are quiet loose, so sometimes kita lazy, malas. The thing is, although this pinggan suku-suku separuh ini kelihatannya basic, tetapi kalau the fundamental knowledge itu kita amalkan with discipline, with consistency, although this is the simple one science, but dia punya kebaikan dia tu sangat bermanfaat lah, even in any situation. Okay, kalau kita cakap like ketogenic diet kan, kita mengubah the structure of the eating itself. Sometimes pada waktu yang kita able to buy the food, the things, mungkin waktu sekarang kita capable untuk beli tu, tapi in certain time, mungkin in terms of crisis economy, we don't know that, but during that time, maybe the trendy diet itself very hard for us to implement it in our daily life. Tapi this thing, healthy suku-suku paruh plate itself, in any situation, in any crisis, I think that is really a practical part lah. So that's why I think before we go to the trendy diet itself, the best part adalah kita fokus apa yang basic tu dulu. And even kalau kita simply go to the trendy diet, okay, betul, kita ada kemudahan internet, kita boleh learn from YouTube. The thing is sometimes everybody dia ada personalized body, so sometimes we are burn out, we are fatigued with what we are rasa kita capable untuk buat, tapi certain time mungkin kita rasa penat untuk amal this diet. So during that time mungkin kita stuck. So bila kita start, kalau kita tak ada the very basic fundamental part itself, so kita start, kita tak tahu nak take a step back dan mulakan daripada mana. So then kita tinggalkan dia terus. So kita tak nak macam tu lah. So simply that the good thing kalau kita ada basic and then kita try to implement it sikit by sikit. Kalau kita go to the advanced one, the trendy diet, at least kalau kita start with the advanced diet, kita can get a step back to the basic one, which is half quarter plate. So I think that's cover the overall lah. Kenapa I think this diet is important lah untuk introduce with this one of consultation itself. So saya akan present slide lah. So basically, Miss, I see your form that you enter before, that your weight also I think your weight pun normal kan?
You have the information?
Yes, you tulis itu umur 28, right? And then the height 155, the weight 62 ah. So in terms of your body weight, yang paling tinggi pernah berapa? Pernah lebih tinggi? 65. Okay. So that's bila tu? 65?
Last year, 65, 67. But that one was because I was also taking sleep medication, and then I think increased my appetite.
I see.
I stopped that medication already. Yeah.
Alright. Before this kan, masa Miss sebelum start medication meaning umur 21 lah. So before that, dia punya berat tu macam mana? A few years before that? Hello? Hello? Okay. A few sebelum Miss start on medication tu kan, biasanya weight dalam berapa masuk awal 20-an tu before take medication? 56.
57, around there.
Oh, I see. So and then once start that medication, how dia naik mendadak atau gradually yang
the medication I only took for like a few months last year.
Oh, I see, I understand. I think that medication pun tak adalah membawa from my side, dia tak adalah membawa begitu ketara peningkatan berat badan kan, for during your medication, right? Because the weight also daripada 56 and then just around 10 kilo within almost 10 years, right? So I think that's okay lah. because it doesn't change too much in terms of appetite to increase the weight itself. So okay, saya akan share slide presentation first. So basically your weight pun almost, I can just imagine like my wife lah, because his weight pun 60
Oh, okay.
50 around that, around you, and high, tinggi dia pun lebih kurang tu jugalah. So I just imagine I consulting my wife to you. So can you see my slide here?
Yes.
Alright. So Miss pernah tak nampak this diagram before? Like this one?
Sort of, yeah.
Alright. Jap, I think I want to change to the Malaysian one lah. The Malaysian version one. I think
Okay.
much easier. Wait, Can you see my slide here?
Boleh.
Alright. Basically, Miss, the thing is about this pinggan sihat. Yes, the term is Malaysia. The thing is, pinggan sihat ni telah diimplementkan dalam guideline WHO, World Health Organization, dalam around 20 to 30 years before lah, dalam 20-30 tahun lepas. Actually, the idea untuk pemakanan sihat untuk general population telah diamalkan oleh WHO sejak 30 tahun lepas lah. But throughout the years, American guideline pun, which is kalau dalam bidang kesihatan ni, biasa selepas WHO, American guideline lah. So mereka pun dah implementkan benda ni beside the pyramid, the pyramid makanan tu kan. Beside that, ada juga pinggan sihat. And then throughout the country around the world pun, kita dah implementkan pinggan sihat ni lah. Even in Malaysia pun dengan Singapore, kalau kita bercakap soal bidang diet, nutrisi, actually macam adik-beradik lah. Apa yang diamalkan dekat Malaysia pun basically almost same lah, kita punya pemakanan apa semua. So I think this figure itself also mewakili jugalah pinggan sihat di Singapura. The idea is there. So and then still, walaupun dia dah 20-30 tahun telah diimplementkan, until now pun, walaupun last time American guideline cuba nak mengubah piramid makanan itself, but still dapat criticize, and still pakar-pakar nutrisi around the world pun memang still think this is one of the most reliable step untuk general population untuk still amalkan up to now lah. So as you can see here, pinggan sihat suku-suku separuh tu, we emphasize first on the half tu lah, yang separuh itu should be the green vegetables. Okay, so kalau tak pun selain daripada green vegetables, boleh juga macam white vegetables. Okay, so half of the plate itself perlulah sayur lah. So kalau saya tengok kan, macam dekat, kadang saya pergi Singapore ke, pergi Indonesia ke, even Malaysia sendiri pun, kalau kita pergi ke mana-mana restoran ke, food stall, even saya kadang notch my, I buy my VIP kan, is Indonesian Chinese billionaire. So sometimes mereka dia suruh saya beli ni lah, nasi ayam dekat biasa saya beli kat Amoy Street ataupun Maxwell Food Court, Chinese Food Court there. So as I can see, even though Chinese food court, walaupun mereka ada several stall menjual makanan yang sihat, but usually nasi ayam lah, nasi ayam tu, chicken rice yang paling banyak kan dijual. So the portion itself, still majority of the plate will be the rice, nasi tu akan memenuhi pinggan, and then timun, cucumber itu cuma beberapa slice, and then ayam tu, yes, yelah, ayam tu portion dia, logik lah, betul. But generally in terms of sayur-sayuran dan juga nasi tu, dia sangat tak tepat lah. Betul tak? From your experience also kan, kalau kita beli dekat
Hmm.
kedai ke, absolutely majority of the plate akan rice lah. Betul tak?
Yes, yes.
Even
Yes.
the Indian food, kalau macam saya sangat suka makan Indian food lah. Sebab kalau kat Malaysia ni ada nasi kandar. Have you tried that before? Nasi kandar?
Yes, yeah.
Saya sangat suka nasi kandar, kuah banjir. But the thing is, kalau saya makan nasi kandar dekat Indian cuisine, Muslim food pun nasinya banyak. Okay. Tapi one good thing, because ini pengalaman saya, kalau kat Malaysia ni kuahnya banyak banjir. Tapi kalau dekat Singapore ni kuahnya kadang asin kan. So dia tak banjir lah. I think because dah cultural, because banyak masyarakat dunia kan, that's why they not simply put the gravy itself there. Tapi the idea is, mana-mana bangsa pun saya tengok, kita ada pemikiran bahawa pinggan yang membuatkan kita kenyang itu adalah dengan terlalu banyak karbohidrat, iaitu nasi. So kalau kita bercakap soal pinggan sihat ni, okay, kita pergi Malaysia ke, kita pergi Europe ataupun kita pergi USA, kita cakap pinggan suku-suku separuh dalam bidang nutrisi ni, actually this is the framework yang pemakanan yang betul, itulah pemakanan yang sihat. Okay, so the idea is there. Kalau kita go to the commercial foods, absolutely the carbs will be much banyak daripada other portion of protein of veggies. But when we talk about healthy plate in nutrition or healthy feel like this, the thing is, half of the plate should be green vegetables. Either cara masakkan bergoreng ke, celur ke, it doesn't matter much lah kalau kita bercakap soal sayur, as long as kita suka makan sayur itu. So and then like me lah, saya pun tak suka makan sayur sawi kan, tapi saya get my intention suka makan sayur raw tau. Contoh macam green lettuce, ataupun kalau kat rumah saya akan tanam ulam raja. So that's my part lah. Kalau saya nak makan penuh dengan sayur, memang saya akan petik ulam raja daripada dekat rumah saya ni. So itu bagaimana saya nak develop saya punya ni lah, minat terhadap makan sayur. Even kalau I think like my wife pun, kalau even Gen Z people, sometimes they know how to make salad kan, tambah Thousand Island ke atau mayonnaise. The thing is, yang terbaik ialah kita buat salad tu, terbaik kita menggunakan olive oil dengan campur sedikit lemon. But you know, as long as kita nak memupuk rasa suka terhadap sayur tu, kita buat salad, tak apalah kita letak mayonnaise untuk permulaannya. But the thing is, mayonnaise pun dia very condensed dengan calorie things lah. But untuk start dapat minat makan sayur tu, is okay lah. But throughout the journey, your journey in have healthy diet, absolutely at the end we can change it to olive oil dengan lemon lah. So that's half of the plate should be green vegetables. Okay, kita ada juga sayur starchy vegetables, sayur berkanji tu. So contoh sayur berkanji tu macam sayur labu ataupun carrot ataupun keladi, potato kan. So that's example of starchy vegetables lah. So kalau kita bercakap tentang sayur-sayuran berkanji, starchy vegetables, actually dia bukanlah half of the plate lah. Kalau kita nak ambil sayur-sayur macam tu, labu ke, carrot, that thing sebenarnya dia part of the carbs also lah, quarter. Dia perlulah suku lah kalau kita nak ambil nasi dengan sayur labu contoh, ataupun potato. So itu adalah part of the quarter lah. As you can see there, nasi ataupun mi ataupun pasta ke, roti, biskut, itu semua adalah contoh yang mana kita perlu ambil suku saja daripada pinggan kita. So and the other one adalah the next quarter adalah ikan ataupun telur ataupun daging, green meat, white meat ataupun seafood. Itu adalah contoh protein lah. So basically kalau protein ni kita ambil lebih sedikit, is okay lah. So as your concern, kalau kita bercakap soal menjaga berat badan itu ataupun dapat berat badan yang optimum, yang terbaik adalah kita try kurangkan carbs, karbohidrat itulah. protein is okay kalau kita nak ambil lebih sedikit, okay. And then sayur pun absolutely half of the plate. Kita always optimize green vegetables. So kenapa kita perlu ambil green veggies ni? Sebab green veggies ni first, dia almost lacking, almost zero lah kalau kita boleh katakan dia punya kalori. So meaning kalau kita ambil satu pinggan penuh dengan sayur pun, kalau kita makan sampai kenyang, actually dia punya calorie intake still sangat sedikit lah. That's why kita try optimize dengan green veggies. And then dia ada benefit, dia tinggi dengan fiber kan, green veggies ni. So bila dia tinggi dengan serat, so actually serat ni dia membantu kita dapat rasa kenyang lebih cepat lah. So walaupun kita makan nasi sedikit, tapi dengan adanya fiber pada sayur-sayuran ini, sebenarnya itu yang membantu kita kenyang dengan lebih cepat lah. Kalau kita punya budaya, kalau kita lapar, okay, general population kita, kalau kita lapar biasanya kita tambah nasi kan kalau kita masih lapar. The thing is, kita try perbanyakkan sayur, absolutely kita akan rasa satisfy itulah, rasa kenyang itu. And then air, in terms of our glasses itself, we try untuk optimize plain water lah. So yes, from me, saya pun although last time as a police officer, walaupun yes in 9-month recruitment tu kita di-train dengan vigorous exercise, but the thing is we always consume plain water lah, because that's the best part untuk kita kurangkan kalori. So in terms of sweet drink, kita try minimumkan dia, okay. Tapi sebab my principle is, you wants to do any diet, make sure kita stay happy lah. So kalau in a certain time kita ada keinginan untuk minum air manis, it's okay, take a little ni kan, beberapa teguk, it's okay. Tapi kita jangan jadikan dia sebagai rutin lah. So kalau macam my practice lah, saya punya hacking style, kadang saya suka minum air masak dulu 1 gelas, and then at last selepas minum 1 gelas air masak, saya akan minum 1-2 teguk air manis, contoh Milo ke apa. So at the end, saya punya rasa aftertaste tu akan yang manis lah. That's my way lah. Instead of kalau saya minum terus 1 gelas teh ais, so itu akan simply contribute in terms of sugar, right? So that's my way lah. Saya minum dulu banyak-banyak air masak, and then baru minum beberapa teguk air manis. So that's my way lah. And then so throughout your journey, okay, make sure you stay happy lah. Jangan terlalu stressful sangat kalau kita buat diet ni. Kita try buat sikit sedikit, tetapi ia konsistensi dan berterusan, as long as kita happy. Kalau kita rasa macam down sikit moral, it's okay. Kita nak makan kek ke apa, it's okay. As long kita ambil makanan yang kita suka itu untuk satisfy kita punya craving tu lah, bukan untuk rasa sampai kita kenyang. No, kita jangan do like that lah. Kita take the cake itself untuk memuaskan kita punya selera itulah. So that's the way. And then regarding exercise, okay, regarding exercise itself, yes, when you start exercise, make sure to avoid, the most important part, avoid injury lah. Because kalau kita once injury, so sometimes kita terpaksa rehat beberapa minggu, beberapa bulan. So that's not good lah. Sebab from my experience, okay, kalau kita injured, sometimes kita terlalu lama berehat, so kita punya intention untuk have healthy eating, untuk exercise tu akan menurun tau. So after certain period of time, kadang kita aku tak minat lah untuk exercise mula. So kita tak nak develop that idea. So the most important part, walaupun kita buat tidak terlalu intense, tidak terlalu vigorous, selagi mana kita buat sedikit, secara sedikit, konsisten, secara konsisten, kita happy, not having any injury. That's the best part lah. Sebab why? Because in terms of mentally pun, kalau kita start exercise during the day, kadang automatically kita pun ada intention, awareness untuk ada healthy eating tau. Contoh kalau kita beberapa minggu atau bulan tak exercise, kita nak makan sihat tu pun sometimes kita tak ada keinginan itu. Tapi kalau kita start exercise, in every week kita buat beberapa kali, kita punya intention untuk have awareness on healthy eating pun, dia automatically kita akan ada that awareness. Also the water intake on plain water pun automatically kita akan suka minum air kosong. Sebab apa? Sebab kita dah invest our tenaga, kita dah invest our time on exercise. So kenapa kita perlu invest on not healthy food, right? So that's always combined together lah. You exercise, absolutely, our intention untuk healthy plate also akan muncul secara automatic. So I think I cover much of the important point. So I hope that's help lah. So do you have any question, Miss? You can ask any question. May I ask?
I think according to the assessment done by Contours Express, they state that I have quite a lot of high percentage of fat. So is there food that I should avoid?
Okay. Food percent, Miss, berapa? Dia ada sebut berapa persen?
Of my weight, they say 30%.
30%, I see. So kalau basically kalau for women, kebiasaannya 20 something kan? Dia mention tak? The normal one. So 30 tu a little bit high lah. So kalau kita bercakap tentang kalau kita bercakap soal kurangkan body fat mass tu kan, okay, kalau from side of diet itself, okay, daripada side field nutrisi, actually tiada satu pun makanan pun atau any diet yang boleh simply focus on that lah, simply optimize on that. Tapi the thing is from my experience, okay, pemerhatian saya, because like I said, saya recruitment polis 9 bulan. When I was entering that recruitment, okay, berat badan saya sebelum masuk tu, saya sempat timbang dekat klinik diet, okay. Saya pergi jumpa kawan saya try timbang dulu. So berat saya adalah 66 kg, and then saya punya body percent adalah 17%. Tapi selepas habis daripada recruitment, okay, selepas 9 bulan, saya punya body weight adalah 62, okay, meaning ada cuma 4 kg penurunan berat badan, tapi saya punya body fat percent turun pada 7%. So the really much significant one adalah body fat. During that time, okay, saya tak ambil any supplement. Saya tak ambil apa-apa makanan yang advanced thing lah. The thing is, saya makan apa juga yang disediakan dekat dewan makan. So when we talk about military training ataupun police training, actually kalau majority people lah, kalau male kalau lelaki, biasa mereka akan masuk dalam berat 90, 80 ataupun even 100. The thing is, majority akan berjaya turun berat badan. Kalau dia are slight overweight, dia akan able to turun berat badan 10 to 20 kilo. Tapi saya among dia yang sangat sedikit lah, sebab saya masuk dengan kurus. Tetapi still saya nampak walaupun penurunan berat badan saya cuma 4 kilo, tapi dia macam switch tau. Instead of fat before this, dia tukar kepada muscle mass. Walaupun saya makan makanan yang biasa saja dekat eating hall. So basically kami, everybody, walaupun mereka berat badan 100 sekalipun, kalau mereka ada selera makan yang tinggi, kami telah disediakan dengan portion makanan yang gitulah, healthy plate one. Generally hampir samalah dengan pinggan suku-suku separuh tu kan. Kami tidak diajar dengan any science, any pemakanan sihat pun. Kami berjaya kurangkan berat badan because of the betul intense exercise. Everyday kami perlu lari 10 kilo, 5 kilo as a routine one. Tapi me as a dietetic student, saya nampak sebenarnya itu bukan sahaja pemboleh ubah utama, tetapi the kombinasi dengan pemakanan yang sihat, the balance plate itself sebenarnya memain faktor utama penting. So I can see that walaupun me tak mengambil any supplement, betul, dengan exercise pun the vigorous one, tapi pemboleh ubah utama juga adalah pada diet itself. Kalau you ataupun kita sama-sama amalkan pemakanan yang macam saya explain tadi, actually you have consistency, you get the idea there. So basically you are able to turunkan sedikit berat badan daripada 62 kilo should be macam 55 ke 56, that's your ideal body weight, right? So kalau you dapat kurangkan ke arah itu, and then absolutely you try improve in terms of protein intake. Contoh mungkin makan satu ketul ayam ataupun ikan seketul ataupun satu keping telur kan. We try to increase a little bit. So by that way, okay, by that way kita boleh improvekan kita punya muscle mass itself. So in terms of cara masakan pun, we as a Malay biasanya kita sangat sukakan yang deep fry kan, bergoreng. So kita try kurangkan makanan bergoreng, kita try kurangkan gravy because itu adalah sumber utama lemak. So kita ubah kepada makanan yang lebih sihat macam bercelur ke ataupun sup. Okay, like that lah cara makanan yang kurang berlemak. So kurang lemak, tinggikan sedikit protein. So by that way berat badan kita pun akan berkurang. Pada masa sama dia akan switch daripada body fat switch kepada protein. So that's the way lah. And the important part kenapa saya always emphasize on pinggan sihat suku-suku separuh ni, because the idea is kita bercakap soal practicality. Kadang bila kita pergi ke mana-mana restoran ataupun kedai makan pun, kita bukannya ada masa untuk kira kalori kan. Kita actually kena buat food choice dalam masa 5 second, 10 second saja. So simply kita tak ada masa. Kalau kita keluar dengan kawan kita, kita pun tak ada masa untuk buat pilihan makanan yang sangat tepat kan, because that will time consuming. The thing is kita dapat insting ataupun idea dalam masa 5 saat, 10 saat untuk buat pilihan paling tepat on that time. So dengan cara makan portion suku-suku separuh ni, I hope you get lah the idea untuk kita makan kat mana-mana pun. Okay, kalau kita tak dapat nak fikirkan satu pemakan yang sangat sihat pun, at least the portion itself good lah, macam saya explainkan. So I hope ini menjawablah persoalan kepada Miss. And then the other part okay, saya as a registered dietitian, my part is only on diet itself lah. Tapi as a general healthcare, saya think from my pengalaman lah, saya sedikit berkongsi lah berkaitan dengan exercise itu. Kadang bila kita nak kurangkan lemak berat badan itu, kita contohnya kita punya belly fat ni macam sedikit banyak kan. Sometimes kita will focus on strength exercise lah. Maksudnya macam leg lifting, something like that. Kalau kita macam nak kurangkan berat badan ataupun in terms of, yes betul lah, body fat itself. Kalau kita nak exercise running, jogging, itu kita buat at slow momentum. So kalau slow momentum ni maksudnya macam mana? Maksudnya kita bukan simply lari pecut saja. Okey, sebab kalau kita lari pecut biasanya kita akan banyak guna pada carbs lah. Kalau pada pembakaran lemak ataupun dalam badan ni, pertukaran tenaga, kalau kita lari pecut biasanya kita akan banyak gunakan karbohidrat. Tapi kalau kita try jogging, okey, jogging walaupun at slow intensity, okey, the thing is kita akan enhance kita punya pembakaran lemak, itulah body fat burning itu akan lebih optimize kalau kita jogging ataupun berlari at quiet, slow, steady pace, tapi at long time. Maksudnya kita try lari 1 jam. So by that way lah cara untuk exercise. So tapi kalau you bercakap soal continuous exercise, I think that's the gym, right? So try untuk optimize pada weightlifting lah, untuk membuang lemak pada belly itself lah. I hope ini menjawab. So any question?
Boleh.
Alright. So Miss, I hope you are able to stay motivated, stay happy throughout this journey. So, and kalau lah in the future you like to further with me or any dietitian, okay, maybe dengan prescription price, also the Malay price lah, although you are Singaporean, right? Because you can do simply virtually like this. So you can later ni lah, me dietitian Amir Rahman from Diet Idea Sendirian Berhad. So you can further with us lah.
Okay.
So but the thing is, kalau lah the knowledge itself simply ini sahaja, this one of consultation, basically kalau you try amalkan throughout your life, you still able to achieve healthier lifestyle. So I can guarantee that lah, as long as you have intention, do it throughout your life journey, little by little, try improve the knowledge little bit, like little by little, absolutely you will get the really much benefit lah dengan apa walaupun setengah jam saya ajar ini. So that's it lah. Thank you, thank you very much for your time. Any question, Miss?
Thank you.
Alright, thank you so much. Bye.